We're joined by Miami-Dade Mayor Daniella Levine Cava. Thank you so much for joining us today on Miami Life.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to begin this interview in a way I don't think I've ever started an interview, and that's like this, with a toothy grin.
Look.
Yes, there you go. I paid a lot for this smile.
Most expensive part of my body.
There you go. And, you know, for years, my dentist said, you know, fluoride has preserved this smile. But now there seems to be a big debate about it here in Miami-Dade County.
Indeed.
You vetoed a measure that would remove fluoride from Miami-Dade drinking water. Why so?
Look, I took it for granted. I know so many of us did. It's been in the water for almost 70 years here, and it's really nationwide. And basically the dentists tell us that we need fluoride for healthy teeth. And topical fluoride is fine. You know, you want to use that fluoridated toothpaste. You want to maybe get a little coat of it when you go to the dentist. Dental care is very expensive. Many people cannot afford dental care. And when you have it in what they call the bones of the teeth, which you absorb through water, you are really protecting your health. So it is safe. It's natural. It's not a chemical. It's already in the water. We have 0.2 per million parts naturally in Miami-Dade County's water, and then we've complemented it with a little more to get to that level that they recommend, 0.7. And it's also necessary. That's what we're told.
But some say it's not necessary, and they say it's harmful. In fact, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, as you well know, is among those who say this is forced medication, and it shouldn't be that parents should have a choice.
Right.
Your reply to that is?
Well, first of all, it's not medication. It's a naturally occurring element. And there is no credible medical evidence to say that anyone is being harmed at the level that we are putting it in the water. So there are places in the country that don't have to fluoridate because they have already that level, but they're not taking it out. And we have places that took it out, and then cavities increased substantially, and they put it back in.
So the county commission could override your veto. Do you believe they will?
I'm hopeful that because they really did not hear both sides of the story, if you will, at the county commission. There was no committee hearing. There was no organized way for them to hear from the medical experts. I'm hopeful that they will now. I've made available to them what we learned from our roundtable with dentists, pediatricians, health experts of all kinds, and the studies that they've produced. I'm hopeful that they will support my veto.
The state surgeon general came to before the Miami-Dade County Commission, and he's among those who said that this could harm the development of our children.
What I've been told by the dentists, and basically, who do you trust with your teeth? Hopefully you trust your dentist. And the dentists have said that any information that is being put out about harm was not done with credible science and is just not validated.
So if the county commission does override your veto, then what steps might you take to protect the dental health of children in Miami-Dade County?
Well, look, we cannot use our water and sewer fees to give people fluoridated toothpaste. We can only use it for water and sewer. So we don't have any source of funding to even help mitigate the difficulties that would be caused for our children's health and vulnerable adults' health. I think we want to educate people, obviously, to get good dental care. Clearly, if you don't have fluoride to help strengthen your teeth, you're going to have to be even more careful about your dental care. And we just don't have dental care that's available to people who can't afford it. It's expensive. And I think it'll be a public health crisis.
Are we politicizing the public health of our kids?
I certainly was not. This was absolutely what was done for decades without question, and then politics got into it. So I am listening to the science and to the dentists. Look, I'm not just a mayor, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I've got a baby grandchild here, a year and a half about. She's enjoying Miami-Dade County's finest, actually Everglades' finest, because it comes through the Everglades, and she's thriving. And of course that's anecdotal, but there really isn't any credible research to have said that at the levels that we have it in the water, that there is any risk. Quite the opposite. The risk is in losing it.
So what would you say to parents who feel, because of the concerns that have been raised, that they have legitimate concerns about the health of their own kids?
I heard from our local dental association president, who supports fluoride, that they certainly would welcome additional research to be done to help quell those concerns, but in the meantime not to take it out because the risk is very real. The
Surgeon General came before the commission, as I said. He testified. I guess you weren't convinced with what he said. Why not?
Well, I don't think he's a dental expert, and I don't think he was citing credible science.
Plain and simple.
That's right.
Yeah. Even if the county commission does not override your veto, the state is looking at this now, and
yes.
and they're looking at banning fluoride from all water systems in the state of Florida. So it would make it a moot point in Miami-Dade, wouldn't it?
It would, and that would be really a shame. Not just for the children and adults here in Miami-Dade County, but statewide. Again, you have Buffalo, New York, you have Pinellas County in Florida, you have Calgary in Canada, removed the fluoride and put it back after public demanded it, after they saw a significant increase in cavities and extreme expense to the medical system. When kids get cavities, they are in pain. They can't concentrate in school. Parents have to lose time taking care of them. And there are systemic things that can happen from tooth decay. It can affect other organs. It can even lead to death. So it's not a minor matter.
No, got you. Let's talk about some other issues if we can. You made the point that you wanted to go visit the Krome Detention Center because of the stories about detainees there being housed in unsafe conditions. Did you get a chance to go in and?
We wrote a letter to the Department of Homeland Security. We have not received an answer, but a little after that, Congresswoman Frederica Wilson also wrote a letter, and she has received a response and is planning a visit shortly. So we were told through her office that we had to make our own request because I wanted to go with her. Of course, we've already made a request, but nonetheless, we're refreshing our request and asking to join her on that visit.
What kind of stories did you hear that caused alarm for you?
Oh, well, we saw videos, didn't we? People sleeping on the floor, lack of food, lack of hygiene, people being shackled for excessive periods of time. Any kind of shackling is not acceptable in a facility like this. So basically inhumane conditions. And look, this is in Miami-Dade County. Yes, it's a federal facility, but anybody in this county is under my care and supervision is how I look at it. And so I think the federal government owes it to me to allow myself to go in and check on the status of these individuals and share what I learned for the benefit of those who are there and the concerned public. I
saw some of the responses after you wrote your letter, and some people were saying, Ms. Mayor, stay in your lane because this is a federal matter. So what would your response be to those people who were saying that to you?
Inhumane treatment in Miami-Dade County is in my lane.
Got it. Transportation. Big issue here. It's just a pain in the butt to get around. I don't have to tell you that.
Yes.
How do we solve this problem?
We cannot build roads to solve this problem. We must improve transit.
Public transportation.
Public transportation. And people have been utilizing our transportation system with greater frequency. We're the most recovered post-pandemic in the country, as I understand it. We have improved service. We've increased frequency on the most utilized routes. We've added dedicated lanes on 836, for example. That's a very popular route. So we're doing more.
You're talking about bus routes?
Bus routes. We also have the bus rapid transit system that's going from Dadeland to Florida City. That's going to be a real game changer for people in the South, and it's brutal commuting from South Dade. So we're moving as fast as we can, and we're hopeful that the federal government is going to give us the money that was in the last administration budget to build the Northeast Corridor as well. That's a train.
Yes, and that which is exactly where I was going.
Yes.
Because big cities where folks can get around have train systems that work. And I've got a suggestion for you. You start a train on the beach, okay?
Yes,
it stops downtown.
Yes.
Then at 17th Avenue, if people want to go to the ballpark. then 37th Ave for the new soccer stadium, then maybe the airport.
You lived in places with really great transit, right? Yes, I did too, and I exactly know what you're talking about. And these things do cost a lot of money. We can't do them on our own. We do need federal support. We don't know what this administration is going to do about public transit, but we do have plans for at least 5 corridors. The South Dade one, even though it's a bus, rapid transit is like a train. It has a dedicated lane. It has signal priorities. It will be speeding past the traffic. The 836 express lane speeds past the traffic. You're saving 20 minutes, 30 minutes on a commute. These things are really improvements. As far as the beach goes, we're still on studies, but I'm very hopeful that yes, we will have a continuation of our mover, our downtown mover, to go over there. Then, as you say, could we get to 17th? That would be grand.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said something, I guess it was last year, that cracked me up. And when you're talking about housing, and you said, and I quote, "The rent is too damn high."
Yes, and I've repeated it many times since then.
Yeah, and it is.
It is too damn high. Yes.
So what do we do about the housing affordability issue?
So I declared a housing affordability crisis 2 years ago. And we've been working around the clock. We've doubled the amount of money in the county budget for development of housing that people can afford. And we have been building out. We've got 12,000 new units, 5,000 in the pipeline. That's 17. But we need about 100,000. And plus, we're losing affordable units. So we've done everything we could think of, including giving grants to owners of small multi-tenant properties. Not alone, mind you, a grant to fix the housing up and keep it affordable for long periods of time. And we are working around the clock. We're also identifying county property that could be better utilized for housing that people can afford. And the rents are stabilizing. They're still too high, but they are not going up precipitously.
But you know what I don't see in Miami-Dade County a lot of, and maybe it's just my own vision, in that some of these neighborhoods where there are that seem interesting, in some other cities I see a lot of renovation and redevelopment, people moving in and changing those communities. And maybe it is happening here and I just don't see it.
Well, of course, there's a good and a bad side when it's gentrification.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that neighborhoods continue to be affordable, as well as to bring in a mix of market rate housing. And that's what the redevelopment of public housing projects, which is going forward. I think we have more RAD, it's called. It's a federal program that allows you to rebuild the public housing, retain at least that number of affordable units, but then add higher income rents as well. And then you're making mixed income communities that are of benefit to everyone. So that is going forward.
So housing affordability is just part of the overall affordability crisis.
Correct.
It's expensive to live in Miami-Dade, period.
Yes, and transportation is a part of it. And so if people have to drive long distances and buy gasoline, or they can't afford the car, etc., we need to have reliable public transit. And we have made it possible to build more densely along these transportation corridors. So down US 1, for example, you see all those taller buildings. They're very popular, and they all have a set aside of a percentage of housing that is more affordable for workforce, and they don't need as many cars. They can take the transit.
Yeah. You're concerned about police departments here in Miami-Dade County being part of this federal immigration crackdown?
Of course, I'm not the sheriff anymore. So, look, we follow the law. We're always going to do that. We also have always been a welcoming place that welcomes people who are fleeing persecution and dictatorships. But we have to have a viable immigration system. We have to have a border that's safe and protected. So we're here to support those who want to make a contribution to our society. We've been very active in promoting temporary protective status, TPS, for those countries where it's dangerous to go home, or people may have been targeted and may not be safe themselves. So that's the position we've taken to promote TPS, and we're grateful that the courts have weighed in.
Should the police, though, be concerned more with keeping the streets safe than tracking down illegal immigrants?
I believe that we need to keep our community safe, and I know that there is concern in the community that may interfere with the police's ability to, and not just police, we've got people who are afraid right now to go to school, to go to the doctor. And it's not just people who were on some kind of temporary status, even people who have approval for longer stay are fearful right now.
Yeah. The incinerator is just coming up again, I think, in July.
Correct.
Now, the folks at Miramar weren't too happy with you because you recommended a site that they frankly hate. You reversed course on that. So where do you stand now on this whole issue?
So the commission has said in July they want to finally make a decision. Remember, it is their decision. We had until April 15th to get input from anybody who wants to contribute, and we're in the process of going through that right now. We're also looking at zero waste strategies. We have a consultant working hard and finding ways to reduce our waste. I mean, number one is we make too much garbage. We're double the national average, so we have to reduce our waste.
How do we do that?
Well, I just went and got a salad, and I got it in a container that they'll take off a price on the every time I bring back that bowl. So that's a good thing. We want to reuse our containers. We don't want to always be buying things and throwing them away. And if we use plastic bottles, for at least please let's recycle them. And so we're working hard to improve our recycling rate, which we have done. But really, we should, what is it? Refuse, reduce, recycle. You know, all of it.
Right.
So that's what we have to do. And we are going to launch with the help of the community that's clamoring and that understands that we don't have to be a throwaway society. We really can modify our habits. I do want to say that I recommended initially, we called it a campus, to include zero waste, composting, all different strategies on site. And I traveled the world, as did many of my colleagues, to learn that waste to energy is very viable and is happening safely and cleanly in much of the world. And that wasn't initially my inclination, but after studying it, I was comfortable with it. That to be said, we know people, regardless, they don't want it in their backyard. Look, it's in Palm Beach, and there's proximity of housing there, and people are not complaining. There's no smell, there's no
danger.
There is no danger. That's what the information that came from the EPA showed, and we consulted with experts there and also around the world.
Well, would the threat of litigation, if Airport West is chosen, would that influence, in your judgment, the decision about where this will be?
Any delay in time is also delay in money, but I don't know what's going to happen, right? The commission is going to start again. I think most of the commissioners were comfortable with the idea of incineration, but frankly, I don't know if there's a site that they could agree on. Yeah. So that's why we revised the recommendation to landfill out of the area, because we don't have unlimited landfill space. And, that's what we're going to do for the time being, because no matter what, if we build it, it's going to take a while to do that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the airport real quick. One of my favorite places to go, and sometimes one of my least favorite places to go, because it's so difficult to get in and out of there. Do we need another airport in Miami-Dade County?
We do have a study that was requested by our former commissioner, now Ambassador Cabrera, so that report will come out shortly, that will talk about areas where we could possibly expand. Of course, Airport West is one of those sites. So we're growing. We do have some space for expansion at not only our main airport, but some of the executive airport in Kendall, the Opelika, but we need to expand. We are growing rapidly. It was 10% year over year. We had 56 million passengers last year at MIA.
So it sounds like you're in favor of another airport.
I'm in favor of making sure that we can accommodate growth. And I'm not sure that another airport is the solution. It may be finding a way to expand our footprint in the existing airports. We'll do it.
I know the mayorship of Miami-Dade County is nonpartisan, but you're a lifelong Democrat.
Yes.
And it seems as though in this political climate, certainly Miami-Dade County is becoming redder by the minute, it seems. So how difficult is it for you to do your job in this changing political climate?
I have always enjoyed support across the aisle. I don't serve as mayor as a Democrat. I serve in a nonpartisan way, and I'm able to get support across the aisle. So I'm very proud of that fact. I have a lot of support in my election, not just from Democrats. I couldn't have won just with that. And I'm very proud and grateful for the support, because people see I take care of business, and people say I'm common sense and I'm practical. I want to solve problems, and that is really who I am. That to be said, obviously we're living in unusual times in which hyperpartisanship has become too much the norm, certainly at the national level, and unfortunately may lead to problems here. But for the time being, I'm going to continue as I am.
Mayor Daniella Levine Cava, thank you so very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.